we are live. Got a couple people on here. Ryan, what's up? Enya, how you guys doing? All right, so we're live. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Where else are we live? Group. All right, we got a couple people on Instagram, so we're just gonna get rolling. Hey guys. Hey Brian, what's up, brother? I'll talk to you in a little bit. But anyway, I just want to jump on here tonight, guys. I actually just got off of a amazing phone call with a good friend of mine. Her name is Kelly Russell. I just want to give her a shout out. She does subconscious change facilitation, and she's magnificent. She's wonderful. You can follow her on Instagram, Innermost Sherpa, INNERMOST Innermost Sherpa. Facebook, Kelly Russell, KelliRussell. Give her a follow. She's got great content. She's really a great person. But what we got to talk, we were talking, and a lot of you guys know that I'm really into personality work, and we're talking about my personality. And for you guys that don't know, I'm a type 8 in the Enneagram scale, and type 8s are our core motivation in life is to avoid vulnerability. So we're very, very into controlling our own environment. We like to feel strong, powerful, and in control. So that's our basic default strategy for how we interface with life. And in the midst of that conversation, we started talking about, men, women, just people in general, not really being open to going to their feminine side. And before you scroll off of this video because of that term, stick with me, okay? This is going somewhere. But the importance of that, and what does that mean to go into your feminine side? I think that I don't even know if that's really crystal clear to people. So I just want to share with you what my take is on going to your feminine side and why it's important and why you don't have to be scared of it. And if you're a female, don't just automatically assume that you're in touch with your feminine side. And I apologize, this is too forward. This is my type 8 coming out. But don't just assume that you're in touch with your feminine side, because we do live in a very masculine world, male or female. We live in a very masculine world. Billy, thanks for tuning in, brother. I know you're a busy man. Billy Car Kid. You guys need to buy a car, check out Billy. He's an auto broker. He's got a really awesome service. He'll save you money on your vehicle, and you'll probably actually end up paying less for the vehicle even after his fee. He was a badass car salesman. I believe it was the #1 Dodge dealership in the U.S. Anyway, their #1 salesman for years running. So he's a hell of a resource. But anyway, back to the subject. So what does it mean to get in touch with our feminine side, and why is it important? Well, it's important because we live in a very masculine world. We live in a world that, if you think about the yin and the yang, the yin represents the feminine, the yang represents the masculine, and they're complementary opposites. And one's always going into the other, morphing into the other. And it's like, it's these two fish that's got each other's tail in their mouth, and they're doing this wonderful dance. That is life. That is creation. So everything is about yin and yang at the end of the day. Yang is the destructive force in the universe. Yin is the creative and restorative force in the universe. And we have that within our bodies as well. We are a microcosm of the universe. And so if you think about what happens is we get thrust in this world where it's just a constant need to produce. It's a constant, 24/7, you have access to social media, you have access to, Netflix or YouTube or whatever you want to watch. That's kind of my thing. When I can't sleep, or if I've got a lot on my mind, I find myself watching, some TV or something way too late. But anyway, we live in this yang world, and we get burnt out, and that's probably not a big surprise to a lot of you. And so we unknowingly get thrown into our masculine, because when we're overly stressed, when we're chronically, we've got chronic demands and deadlines on us, and the world just seems like a big objective to be completed, and then you're on to the next thing. That really throws us in this survival state. And when you're in a survival state, you're really sympathetically dominant in your sympathetic nervous system. You get into survival mode, you're a little more stressed out, you get into your lower self, you get into your survival states, and you're not really yourself. You're definitely not your highest self. You're definitely not a complete integrated version of yourself. You're just in survival mode. And that becomes chronic in a lot of us. And when it becomes chronic, when it becomes chronic, then it's even, we experience that much more resistance to anything that's going to calm us down. So if you think about a time when you're really freaking stressed out and someone says, calm down, What does that make you do? Do you calm down? Generally not. Generally not, right? You just, it amps you up. So the last thing you want to do when you're stressed out and chronically yanged out is to calm down. But it's exactly what you need. So that's what I mean by going to your feminine side. Okay, it's not about wearing feminine colors or anything like that. I mean, it could be part of it. And if you want to put a dress on, walk around the house, that's your thing, do it. But really, it's just about getting to that feminine side of us, getting from the fight or flight state of our nervous system over to the rest, digest, and assimilate part. That's the parasympathetic. So we go from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic part of our nervous system. And that creates balance. That creates balance within us. How do we do that? We just go inward. It can't, some of the stuff is so simple, guys, it's almost embarrassing. And this is one of those categories. If you think of yang is external focus. Yang is output. Yang is producing. Yang is fire. Yang is burning of energy. The yin is going inward. It's receiving, right? Yang delivers, yin receives. So that's why the yin, parasympathetic, the rest, digest, assimilate part of us, introspective part of us, that's the feminine side. So it doesn't have to be super complicated. So whether you're male or female, if you don't get enough sleep, if you don't make time for introspection, if you don't think about your triggers and your emotions and the things you're psychically charging with your mind, if you're not thinking about those things, then you're just kind of reacting to life and you're just being thrown in the survival state, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. And another thing, one thing that I really see with my clients is when they think they're going inward, like they're really not. And I mean that, the reason why I say that is a lot of times, especially men, like we like to think, we like to process up here. We like to be logical, rational. We think we're not that good at it. But that's not going inward. What do our thoughts do? Our thoughts create stories. Our thoughts make assumptions. Our thoughts assign meaning to things. Our thoughts create duality. Our thoughts create, this is good, this is bad. And any time that you say something is good or something is bad, you're charging it psychically. Reference for this is Dr. Carl Jung. But if you think about that, just by saying something's bad, this is what our thinking does. Just by saying that's bad, what we're doing is like, think about it like, say, here's the dividing line. This is neutral. Over here's bad, over here's good. We create a duality. We can't be in neutral. No. But we create a duality. Say, this is bad. So we psychically charge that with bad. This is good. We psychically charge that with good. So we're psychically charging two different things, good or bad and good. Well, you can't keep psychically charging things without having it come back at you, right? This is how manifestation works. So you're psychically charging it. And now think about that bad that we've labeled as being like a spring. So it goes from neutral, and then we psychically charge it, and we load the spring. And we load the spring here, load the spring, load the spring. Bad, good, bad, good. Well, that spring is loaded. And then eventually something trips you up, a temptation, a stressful day, maybe a rude comment by somebody, and boom, that trap gets sprung because we've psychically charged it. Now, if we can look at things as neutral, then we're not going to psychically charge it. We're just going to say, hey, I'm making a choice that I prefer. I prefer this and not that. That doesn't make that bad. I'll go to carnivore and veganism as an example, right? The carnivore is going to say veganism is bad. A vegan's going to say carnivore is bad. Instead of just saying it's neutral, it's an option, it's a way to eat, I choose this. So you're not psychically charging the other on a negative scale. Now, I know that's a long explanation, but it does tie into our thoughts. It's our thoughts that assign meaning to things. Our thoughts that say that's good, that's bad. So we psychically charge things that drains our energy. If we can go below the head, go through the throat, into the heart, it's getting here. If we can spend some time in this range here, in this zone here, this is where the heart is. What do you think about when you think about femininity? Now, guys, beyond the dirty thoughts, what do you think about femininity? You think about love? You think about nurturing? Think of the mother archetype. So this is where the yin lies. This is where our inner world is, right here, right in our heart. It's the bridge between our higher and our lower self. So we can connect to our heart, and we can bypass the thoughts, and we can just sit with the emotions that were created from those thoughts. and just let them do their thing. Be like, oh, that's uncomfortable. I wonder how long it's gonna last. Oh, more thoughts. Oh, this means this and this means that. No, eventually we'll snap out of that and we just get in our heart and we just get in our feelings, and we can just work on allowing those to be what they are, and to show us what they need to show us. And they always go away. The energy from those feelings always go away if we allow. And when we're in that point where we're in our heart, that's when we're gonna get real with ourselves. I like to say, like, our ego lives in our mind, right? Our ego, known in the Bible as the devil, is the part of us that resists the vulnerability. And as a type A, trust me, I know all about that. Even saying that word, vulnerable, like, it's hard to come out. But but being able to open up our heart and get into our feminine side, and to be able to allow those feelings and those emotions to come in without a label, without assigning a meaning to it, then we see that the energy just goes away. We're really not vulnerable. And actually what we're responding to is the story we've created around the events, the meaning that we've assigned around the events, good, bad, and we continue to psychically charge it without allowing it to come in and set in as a feeling that will eventually go away. So that's kind of the first steps, bypassing the head, getting into the heart. Like, that is the first bridge we must gap right there, being able to do that. Because if we think we're going inward and we're just getting stuck right here, we're not. We're just ruminating. Huge difference. So what are some things that we can do? What are some things that we can do to make that happen? Well, these are all, none of this is going to be new to you. There might be one or two things on here that might be new to you, but none of this is going to be new to you. Probably going to review, but how often are you doing it? And how effective is it for you at the current moment? If it's currently effective, you just didn't know, hey, I was getting in touch with my feminine side. Now you know. All right. But these are all also designed to not only allow introspection, but to get you out of that sympathetic nervous system and get you in more of your parasympathetic nervous system, get more of a balance there, even keel balance, like the yin and the yang. So obviously there's meditation. What kind of meditation? I like a good old relaxation meditation, like just a simple, calm, abiding meditation. If you're the type that is really focused externally on things, like yang dominant, you might try an eyes closed meditation. People that say, I can't visualize, I just can't visualize things. Awesome. What would it look like if you did? Maybe you do a visualization. Maybe you do something where you get to be introduced to your creative element that you didn't know you had. Creative element, yin, right? Like we said, the yin creates. So if we're getting creative, anyone says I can't be creative or I have a hard time being creative, they're stuck in their yang. A relaxation meditation, calm, abiding meditation, eyes open, eyes closed, you choose. But if you have an affinity towards being externally focused, try an internal one. If you have an affinity towards being internally focused, it can be in your inner world, like a type 4 in the Enneagram, something like that. Maybe you want to focus on being a little more externally focused with your meditation, maybe a candlelight or something. An active imagination meditation. So this one you may or may not be familiar with. I believe this is Dr. Carl Jung's technique, but really you can do that with anything. I like to do this like with people that you might want to call inner child work or whatever, but maybe there's a time in their life where they formed a belief about themselves that wasn't really serving them, and it wasn't true, right? Maybe somebody got picked on in high school and they formed a belief that they were weak, or they were left out, or they were unworthy, or whatever. So, but what you can do is so for that example is you would go into meditation and you just kind of go back to that person. Could I speak more vague? Kind of. No, you go back to that person in your meditation and you just interact with that person. And you can have something that you want to ask that person. You could just go into it and just want to interact with that person. But you will be like, if you haven't done this before, I would be shocked if you weren't really blown away by how much you were moved by this practice. But you would just go into your active meditation, and the way I do it is I have something written down that I want clarity on, and I go into that, and I'll go. For me, it might be like a picture of Jesus or a picture of Buddha or some enlightened master, and I'll do an active meditation where I just go in there and I converse with that person and or the spirit of that person. And you'll get something out of it. Whether you believe you're really talking to the spirit of that enlightened master, like in my mind, does it freaking matter? And on what level are we going to measure that, right? In the quantum realm, like what isn't connected? So an active imagination meditation, that's really powerful one. Breath work, super simple. Wim Hof breathing. Breathe deep and exhale as fully as you possibly can for 30 breaths. You hold for as long as you can. Inhale, hold for 15, 20 seconds. Do that for 3 to 9 rounds. And then after your last round, you go into just one of your favorite meditations. Maybe a contemplative meditation. Maybe you have a what if question or how come question or what would happen if question. And you'd be able to connect to your heart, your soul. You'd be able to go into that meditation and most likely get some sort of clarity on that. Journaling, super simple, doesn't take a lot of time, 2 to 5 minutes a day. You spend some time jotting down your thoughts, jotting down your day. I really like to have an intention behind the journaling. So typically, like when I assign journaling to clients, it's really about like, what triggered you today? What do you think brought that on? What do you believe brought that on? Is that true? Things of that nature. But you don't have to have anything major, any major intention with your journaling. You can literally just write what's on your mind at the time. It's about expression. It's really about expression, guys. And another thing in this world is we don't get a chance to adequately express ourselves. We've been made to believe that anger is bad. Kevin, thanks for joining, bud. We've been made to believe that anger is bad. We've been made to believe that men don't show their feelings, men don't cry, that type of thing. And then also kind of morphs into this other thing where it's like, just cry whenever you want, that type of stuff. But this is just a lack of balance. There's a lack of balance. There's a lack of awareness as far as how this whole yin yang thing works. It affects our physiology, affects our psychology, it affects our spirituality, it affects every single thing. Well, your physical body and your spiritual body, they're in different dimensions. But if you have crappy physiology, your spiritual life isn't gonna be that great. Let's see. So, yin yoga. Yin yoga is a good one. Tai Chi, Qigong. You don't have to learn some complex movement structure. Literally, you can just breathe and move your arms. Breathe and move your arms. Long walks. Any of that stuff. Anything where you just calming down, slowing down. And when you're doing any of these, tune into your heart center. Tune into your heart. That's where you need to go if you want to touch base with your feminine side, get a little more yin in your life. Obviously, the basics apply here. Like you want to be getting, adequate sleep, at least adequate sleep, if not good, great sleep. Going to be watching the processed foods, the caffeine, the sugar, that type of stuff. Because, if we give you a pot of coffee and a Snickers bar, doesn't matter how much of the stuff you do, you're going to be stuck in your sympathetic nervous system. So here's what I do. Like, it's super simple how I get in touch with my feminine side or get more yin in my life. Well, first thing I do is I listen to my body. So, I'd like to hit the gym every single morning. Hey, Jade. So I like to hit the gym every single morning because I am a type 8. And like I said, strength is my favorite toy to play with. And so I like to start my day in the gym. I like to go lift weights, feel strong. And then I know I'm like, got the important shit out of the way. But I do listen to my body. And so like if I don't care what my program says I'm doing today, if my body isn't on board, I'll go through a couple warm-up sets just to make sure I'm not wussing out. But I listen to my body. That's the number one thing you can do for your physiology, honestly. Like if you're not hungry, don't eat. If you've got something on your plate that your body doesn't want to eat, don't eat it. If you're supposed to train a certain way for the day and your body's not feeling it and you get warmed up and you're not feeling it, don't do it. Do something else. First thing, that your body will tell you right where your state of physiology is once you learn how to tune into it. So if your body's telling you, hey, we're a little too much yang to be doing what you want to do today, you gotta listen to that. You gotta honor that. Because guess where that's coming from? That's right. It's coming from right there. Tegan, I'm getting some checkies on here. So I start out the day with my workout, but that's the number one thing I do, just to do my best to maintain the balance without anything extra. Now, the extra stuff, the daily habits, start my morning off with praying every morning. Wake up, praying. And that all depends on what the current climate of my week, my day, my month, whatever it is, it really affects the nature of how I pray. So I start off with a prayer, and then I go right into a manifestation visualization session. That stuff kind of sounds sort of like cliche anymore nowadays. It's getting thrown around like crazy, but really that's what I do. I do manifestation visualization. And while I do that, it's totally coming from a supportive, motivational, nurturing, and connecting perspective with myself. And because much like anyone else, when I first started this, whenever I attempted to manifest something or attempted to visualize, guess what popped up? All the you can'ts or the what abouts or the how come, and like all the doubts just come in. And so it's just like you go in there and you expect these doubts to come in, but you have a nurturing quality about it. So I just like to ask those doubts questions. Well, why do you believe that? Is that your belief? Where's that come from? Where's your proof? So that's all part of it. That's usually in the first couple minutes of it, and then that settles down and you get into the visualizations, you get into if you got affirmations, mantras, what have you, that's going to be in there. Now for some of you that have a hard time visualizing, and I know this happens, first thing I'll ask you is, I know you have a hard time visualizing, but what would it look like if you did? And if that doesn't work, what you can do is you can create an emotion before the vision. So you're going to go in there and you're just going to think, what would it feel like when I'm sitting on that spot? Like, I can't even picture it right now, but what would it feel like? Oh, I don't know. I can't create the feeling. Okay, we'll put words to the feelings. Amazing, elated, on top of the world, powerful, whatever. Okay, now when was the time you felt that? All right, let's go back to that time. Let's visualize that event again. Recreate that feeling. Now just bring that feeling to the current time and place. And then just let that feeling sit in. And say, what is this feeling? Explain that feeling. Oh, this is me in my new state of being. This is me when I've arrived at my next goal. And then you'll be surprised at how the visualizations pop up. They will come up. You can do that, or you can just go into like just sort of a abiding state. And if the mind's racing, you just let the mind race. If the mind's in projection mode, talking mode, you let it do its thing. And eventually, it might be a small window, might be a big window. It might come fast. It might take a minute, but eventually your mind will get into picture making mode. And when it's in picture making mode, you take advantage of that and you start directing the show. So the kind of ways you can do that. So I start out with praying. I do my manifestation visualizations, and then I'm off to the gym. That's not my morning routine, but that's the yin part of my morning routine. And then after my workout, I'm always doing some sort of sauna. That's where I usually do my breath work. And my breath work in the sauna, well, I generally don't go into another meditation after that. Like, it creates a meditative state. There's a DMT release. And then right before bed is when I set my reflection time. So that's all right. Back on Facebook. Sorry, guys. I lost connection here. I think Instagram might be toast. Dang it. Anyway, oh, here we are. We're back. All right. So, like I said, sorry for losing connection on you guys. So I might throw in some Tai Chi, I might throw in an extra meditation. It's all dependent on what's going on in my life at the time. But that's basically it for the day, guys. You're starting out with a little, setting your intentions, doing your prayers, maybe you're manifesting. One other dedicated session throughout the day. If you're yang dominant guy like me, that's a must. And then just a few minutes at the end of the night to either journal or, reflect on your day or look at your shadows or what have you. It's pretty darn simple, but it's real important, guys. Don't like. I know it's really hard sometimes to slow down, and like I mentioned earlier, when you're really stressed, is the time you want to do it the least. So, if it's been a while or you've never done it, like it might be a good idea for you. It might be a good idea for you to take a look at it. And what suffers if we don't do that? Like our energy suffers, our ability to take care of ourselves suffers, our ability to work out, exercise, be strong, be fit. That suffers. Our relationships suffer. Like it's tough. Relationships are tough anyway. Friendships, marriages, partnerships, they're challenging anyway. Like Jordan Peterson says, what do you want in a relationship is bouts of bliss interrupted by a good fight now and then. so they're tough, but if you're in a chronic state of survival mode, or if you're sympathetic dominant and you're in your fight or flight mode, you're not going to be as relatable and you're not going to be your true self. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you found some value in that. If not, leave a comment down below. Tell me it sucked, whatever. But I got a couple comments here. Yeah, I just want to provide value to you guys. Just add some things here that maybe come at it from a different angle than you're used to hearing. Let's see, Jade, it took me a long time to learn this, but when I finally implemented it, it changed everything. Yeah, amazing how that works, huh, Jade? Awesome. Jade, you guys should follow her, Jade Hayes. She's in the comments. Wonderful, enlightened soul. Divine feminine here. Tegan, needed this. Awesome stuff here. Hey, you're welcome, brother. You're welcome. And yeah, thanks for the feedback. Appreciate it. Billy's macho as hell. Most guys think getting in touch with their feminine side is a precursor to being. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, Billy. I was actually going to do an intro to this video where I said, here's how I get in touch with my feminine side. I put on my wife's clothes and wear makeup and stuff like that, just as a joke, but I figured it might not be taken so well. But of course, you don't feel that way. I'm totally comfortable with my feminine side. Yeah, Billy's very open and reflective and looks at himself very objectively. All right, guys. No other comments? I appreciate tuning in. And like always, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. We do holistic health. We do wholeness coaching, fitness, personality. Basically, I know it sounds like a whole bunch of stuff, but really it's like, what do you want in life? What's keeping you from getting there? And we'll cover all the bases. We'll get you there. All right, guys. Appreciate everything. Peace, much love, and live well. Oh, I thought I ended this.